The Dalek has gone to pieces. What in the name of Davros is going on? I had said at the beginning of this build that I wanted to try and make the interior of the Dalek closer to being screen accurate than what is given to us in this model. To that end, I have been looking ahead into the instructions and looking at the parts as we've been getting them to try and make some decisions on how and where I want to make those modifications. And now I've decided to go ahead and start doing some of those modifications to the actual model that we have here. So what I've done is to go through and take pieces apart that I've not glued together. I had said early on as well that some parts I would go ahead and glue now, other parts that I wouldn't. And I've taken these back to some major components. So I have the base plate here. That's not a flat base. If you're looking at the pictures, you can actually see that it's actually a ridged base on here. So I need to take care of that. On the back wall, there is not all the little bumps that are molded into here. So that needs to be corrected as well. And then on the upper wall, which I haven't totally dismantled at this point, again, all these little bumps are not present on the actual filming model. So I need to get rid of those as well. And then from there, I'll work on doing some reassembly and gluing different parts together as I go. So let me show you how I'm dealing with getting rid of all these little bumps and where I'm at this stage. So this back wall is the first thing that I want to modify. This is the lower back wall. These bumps are not actually present on the actual filming model. So if you take a look at this picture, you can see in that picture that across the top, you can see some perforated metal. And I think what Hachette has actually done, the designers actually have done, is they saw that perforated metal here in the back, and instead of interpreting it as holes, which is what it actually is, they interpreted it as these bumps. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for doing that. I think that's just an interpretation that they made, and it does give some texture to the back surface and does give it a visual interest, which is good. But I want to go a little bit further with it. Also, from the pictures that have seen, there's only the two of these cylinder shapes in the back. And they're actually not a cylinder, they're actually a slight cone shape. I don't know if I'll actually be able to make these into cylinders, into cones, or if I'll just leave the cylinders that are here. But I'm only seeing the two that are in the back center. I'm not seeing the ones that are on the two sides here. So what I need to do is to actually remove all of these bumps. I've also gone ahead and I've actually glued these two pieces together. On the back, we have this large panel that's here, and we have these 6 screws. I was finding with mine that it actually, even with the screws tight, there was actually a little bit of play in it. I could literally open it back and forth, and it had some movement to it. So on the inside of this large plate, I actually went ahead and glued that into place. Instead of using the liquid cement that I've been using, okay, the clear liquid cement that I've been using, I actually went old school on this and, cracked out the classic Testors gel glue. And this has done a very good job of bonding this back plate to the front wall pieces, and this is now good and solid. So that might be some consideration for some of you if you are considering doing any kind of modifications, or if for some reason you find you need to take it apart when you go to put it back together. The screws might not necessarily hold quite as strong because they may cut the thread different. They may not go back into the original thread that was cut by the screw when you first put it together. So bonding these together may be an option for you. Getting rid of each of these little bumps is going to take a while to do this. And I'm using an X-Acto blade chisel knife. And I'm just coming in and cutting off the bump in a couple of passes, getting it down close, and then doing a final pass just to get this flush with the back surface. Yes, it is leaving this this nasty mark on here, but this whole surface is going to need a light sanding, and then just to get it all nice. And then the upper area, of course, is going to have all the holes drilled in it to show that perforation. These lugs, if I definitely confirm that there are not any of these cylinder pieces out here, those will come off, and then depending upon how the hole pattern lays out, I may have to fill that hole before being able to continue on with the rest of the work. This little ejection pin mark area, that's going to have to get filled in. And of course, the seam line between the two parts, that'll get filled in and sanded down as well. So I've got the first half of this taken care of. All the little bumps have been removed, and I've done the first bit of sanding across that. It's going to be a lot more sanding to do. Please make sure you do not do anything to this little area here. I'm not sure what's going to be going into this spot, whether it's going to be a screw or what's going into there, but do not get rid of that if you're going to do this. I still need to confirm whether there's going to be one of these cylinders over here on the side. Again, I'm pretty sure there isn't, but I need to double check it just to make sure. As far as the filler that's going to go into the seam over here, I'm going to end up using this plastic putty. This is from Vallejo. That will focus. Their plastic putty. Obviously, I've been using this for a while now, so right in there I think is the number. But yeah, I'll use this to fill in this seam and be able to sand that out nice and smooth. And then it'll be time to drill the holes. Now, the nice thing is that I don't have to drill holes over all this entire area. The bottom part of this is actually going to be covered with another layer of plastic that I'm going to get from Evergreen. And it has a ribbed pattern to it, as you can see in the photo that shows the back wall of the Dalek cockpit area here. So I'm going to continue on with the other side and bring you back when this is much closer to being done. So looking closely at the pictures, I have come to the conclusion that the cylinders that are on the outer edge here do not exist on the original prop. So these lugs here, 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 and here are all going to get removed before I go ahead and start inserting the material that's going to go into the back. So this back wall has been sanded down. I did cut off these posts on the two sides here because I've determined that there are only the two cylinder pieces in the middle in the back. As far as now decorating the background, I now have to add in the material, and what I'm going to be using are these two pieces here. The first one is going to be going in the back, and that is this perforated metal material here. This is just a piece of aluminum with the perforations already into that. So this is going to get cut to width and then cut to length and rounded to be able to be set into this back wall section here. Then on top of that is then going to be this material here. Now, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but it is actually a ribbed material. You can hear that. This then goes over the top of this just in a small area. It doesn't go the entire width, it's just in a small area in the background, and it's going to get painted sort of an olive green kind of it's a weird kind of odd color. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but you can certainly see it in the picture here. So I'm going to go ahead and first start with the metal sheet and get that shaped and ready to be put into place. So I'm ready to reattach these two pieces together. I am going to go ahead and once again I'm going to glue these two parts. I'm going to go old school with the gel glue to make sure I get a good adhesion across that entire lower shelf surface. I will still put the screws in just to hold everything in nice and tight. You don't need a lot of this stuff if you've never used the old Tester's glue. You definitely don't need a lot of this. I'll just put a nice bead across this whole area here, just to make sure we get a good adhesion. And that is now ready to have those two pieces attached. I'm just going to slide this back in, push everything down nice and tight. Make sure everything's in underneath. And go ahead and get those screws in. Actually, I'll need to get a little bit of glue into there, and I didn't need the glue on that inside surface there. I forgot there wasn't a lip there, so that's a mistake on my part. Not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and get those screws in, and then I'll be ready to put the mesh into the back. The metal piece has now been shaped and set into place. I have it just clamped in at the moment. I have not added any glue. I'm going to just use a small amount of thin CA so that it will wick behind the mesh against the plastic and glue all that into place. So here's the cockpit area with the metal mesh now glued into place. And as you can see, you have all those little spots on there. As I said earlier, I think this is why the Hachette designers thought that the surface were little bumps as opposed to the mesh. But looking clearly at the pictures, you can see that it is indeed a mesh. I do still have a small detail to add up into the corner. There's a washer with a small bolt going through it, and of course I need to add the pieces back into the cylinders, back onto the back section back here. Now you'll notice that the lugs that came through are now missing, and that is because of the fact that trying to locate exactly where I would have needed to drill holes just wasn't going to work very well. But I will still be able to get these mounted into the model. I'll be able to now drill a hole through the mesh and still be able to run an appropriate screw into the back of the part to be able to hold that into place. So no problems with that. So as you can see, I've added two more layers to the back wall of the lower section of the cockpit. As was shown in the earlier image, there is a solid piece down here and then this ridged material here in the back. I'm not exactly sure what that material is on the real thing, but I was able to find a plastic sheet material to simulate this same type of material. So that's now ready to go into place. The next thing I need to do is to reinstall 2 of the cylinder pieces onto the back wall, get those into place, and then I can go ahead and focus on the top section. So when these were first made and put into the model, the bottom of the corrugated section of the tubing has the pin that went into the hole on the base plate. However, now with the metal in and the 2 layers of plastic in, that hole is no longer in the correct location. Of course, I could potentially drill the hole in a new spot, sort of make it more of an oval. Honestly, the easiest thing to do is just to cut that nub off, and now I can set this into place and be able to put that where I want that to be located. I felt the original pieces were actually just a little too long, stood up a little too high, so using my razor saw and some sandpaper, I cut off the bottom 2 sections of the corrugated section of the part. This will now sit directly down onto the base of the cockpit area, and the cylinder section will then get glued to the back wall to hold it into place. So these 2 parts have now been glued into place. I just used Eileen's tacky glue to hold them in place. This way, if for some reason I decide that I don't like their location, or if somebody were to design a more accurately shaped part for these 2 pieces in the lower section, I'd be able to pop them off and be able to replace them with those more accurate parts, or be able to relocate them within the model as is. So now, while I'm continuing to work on the lower section, this top section also needs to have all of its little bumps removed. So again, I'll take the 4 cylinders off. Those will all go back on. The center section here, I still haven't decided if I want to keep it or if I want to go ahead and get rid of it. I'm not seeing any kind of evidence for an item like this in the back of the top section, but at the same time, I really like the way that it's designed, the way that it looks, and it also could lend itself to a neat lighting effect inside here. So I have to think about that some more, whether I want to get rid of this or not. I still have some time to make that decision. There's still stuff that will go in front that will sort of obscure this a little bit. But it is a neat design. I do like it. I'm probably going to keep it. But that's a decision for a little bit further down the road. So it's time for dismantling and starting to get rid of those bumps. So the upper section, I have gone ahead and I've taken all of the nubs off, all the little bumps, sanded that down smooth, added in some filler in some areas where I accidentally cut into the plastic when I was removing those little bumps. Worked on filling in the center seam here. It did not get quite as clean as I would like. However, there's going to be wires and cables and such that are going to be sitting back there, so I'm not too worried about the fact that that's not 100% gone. But otherwise, the cylinder pieces are now ready to be reinstalled, and as I said, for now, I am planning on keeping this piece available as a possible additional part for this in the back. I'm still looking at some possibilities for what I might be able to do to light it up, but that's definitely for something in future. So let me get the cylinder pieces back in place and get this back onto the main part of the model. So I now have the top section put back together, and it is currently just set in place. I have not put any screws in, and I have not glued it down into place. This is just going to make it easier to work on it as I add other details to this. You can see the seat has not been installed. I still want to cut this down and make it shorter before I put this in, but I do have the Dalek mutant sitting into place. It's just currently sitting on top of a couple of old servo boxes. You'll also see that the copper tubing pieces, or the parts that I painted copper, have not been reinstalled yet. Those can be put back in pretty easily and pretty quickly. So just so that you can see what this all looks like here in the back, take these parts out. So that is what this area is looking like at this point. There's still a lot of other details to add in. There's some details that are on the sides over here that I need to do a little more investigating and see if I can figure out what they are. There are some details that go on top of these cylinders. And of course, there's lots of wires and tubes and hoses to add in as well. So now that this is done, it's time to go to the actual parts that have been sent for this month and get started in on that first step for this round. Well, a lot that has gotten done there, but now it's time to move on to the actual build for this month. So on to step number 31. As you can see, we're definitely going to be working on the other half of the back of the neck. And the first thing that we have, of course, is the diamond mesh pattern material, which I will once again go ahead and paint. We have the 3 brackets that need to go into place, and of course the screws. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to get the mesh painted, so that can be drying while I'm getting these brackets put into place and screwed down. So that's the end of step number 31. On to step number 32. So in step number 32, the screen is provided, the braces are provided, the little caps, and of course the screws. So this will go on pretty quickly. And that's the end of step number 32. On to the next step. Step number 33 is actually pretty quick. It's just a single piece that we're going to be assembling, putting these two parts together. Just like I did last time, I'll glue these two pieces together, have that ready to be able to go onto the model. And that's the end of this step. On to the last step for this month. So for step number 34, we're given quite a few things here. The rest of the caps are given. The second ring for this side is provided. And then the bottom ring for both sides is also provided. So quite a bit of pieces to add on to this step. And now these rings, they drop on to the posts just like the upper two rings have. But in this case, instead of having a copper piece underneath, it actually has the holes in this base plate here that's actually going to hold that all together. So I can go ahead and just set this right into its location and get that dropped into place. Get those two screws in and then flip it over to put in all the screws on the bottom. So now finally, putting on the rest of all these caps. They just slide and lock right into place. They're a pretty decent pressure fit. I could certainly glue those on if I find that they seem to be loose for some reason. But these are actually fitting in pretty nice and snug. I can feel them grabbing as the pegs are pushed into the holes. And with that, we are done for another month. I hope that you've enjoyed this month. A lot of stuff that I've done because of the modifications to the cockpit area. There's still more to come on that. So I hope that you'll come back and watch again next month. And thank you very much for going all the way through. Take care, everybody. See you next month.